Hi guys and welcome back. So today I'm going to be making a Kurinuki teapot. So this is a style of teapot with a handle coming from the side. Here I'm just carving out a cone of clay from the top which will form the lid. Here I'm just smushing the clay into a triangle, kind of a pyramid, that I will then carve into the lid of the teapot. I use a large loop tool to then go and hollow out the interior of the teapot, taking out as much weight as I can, but still leaving quite thick walls because we'll be doing some carving on the outside. You want to aim for around 2 to 3 centimeters thick. I then sponge around the rim, just compressing it and also drawing the clay towards the center to make a nice gallery for the teapot. So here I'm just taking a large loop tool and going around and carving the outside. This is more of a first rough carving to get the general form of the teapot I want. It also helps to smooth over any lumps and bumps, which will make the final decorative carving much easier. Here I'm using a wooden potter's knife to push down a gallery around the rim of the teapot. So this will help the lid fit, so sit in place on top of the teapot. Once I've made the gallery, I then go in and just smooth around the clay around the edges. This is just to make this area just nice and smooth and as uniform as possible, basically. And it just allows the lid to fit nicely into the gallery. I then take a sponge and just smooth the outside. And here you can see me just fitting the lid, what will become the lid, just to make sure it's a very nice fit on top of the teapot. I then carve out the side. So this is an attachment to where I will attach a handle, probably made out of wood, to form the side handle of the teapot. I then leave the form to dry out to around leather hard stage before I do the second carving. Here you can see me just smoothing out the gallery using a potter's knife, just to make sure it's just nice and smooth for the lid to fit onto. So here you can see me just like making sure that the lid fits. For this design I wanted the carving to kind of reflect ripples in the sea. So here I'm just using a large loop tool and making very large organic cuts to the outside. I replace the lid on the top. This helps to make sure that your carvings extend from the lid to the base of the teapot, so it basically looks like one form. And here I'm just going around just carving the exterior using this wavy motion, which I think gives a very nice organic shape to the teapot. So it definitely helps to do this carving while the pot is a little harder, because you're doing these very bold carving marks. It can be quite easy for the teapot to distort if it's not dry enough. So yeah, it's a very good practice to let the teapot dry out. So you also have to take a little bit of care, especially where the lid meets the base of the teapot, just to make sure you're not cutting into the gallery or making a hole in the wall, because these carvings are quite irregular. You just have to take your time, and it may be a bit easier if you're first starting out to make these carvings a little less deep than what I'm doing here. But because I know that the walls are quite thick, I can make these very bold carvings to the outside. So I basically just go around and make sure these carvings are just everywhere on the teapot and all kind of flow together as one. So once you're happy with the outside carvings of the teapot, I then flip over the teapot to carve the base. I wanted the base to be quite simple, so I just made it flat, just taking some of the weight out of the edges and smoothing over with a sponge. I then flip the teapot back over to do the carving of the lid. So I like to leave the lid quite thick when I do the initial carving, just to make sure I'm not going through the wall or anything, but then I just make sure I hollow out the lid afterwards, so it's as light as possible. Here you can see me making a hole in the spout so the tea can escape the teapot, and also just hollowing out the middle taking care to thin out the walls as much as possible without going through the wall, which can be devastating. But we want our teapot to be as light as it can be. So just taking care to remove some of the weight out of the walls. And there you have it. That's pretty much the final teapot. I hope you enjoyed this, and I've linked up some of my other Kurinuki tutorials that I hope you find helpful. And happy pottering, guys! Bye!